The hallway fell silent. The only sound echoing through the school corridors was the rip of fabric. Then came the laughter, cruel, sharp, and echoing. Amelia stood frozen, her eyes wide with shock, one hand instinctively clutching what remained of her torn skirt. In that moment, time seemed to pause. But 60 seconds later, the bullies who had mocked her were on the ground, begging for mercy. It all started 3 weeks ago when Amelia transferred to Ridgewood High. Her family had just moved from a small town, and this school was nothing like what she was used to. The students were louder, the cliques more rigid, and the kindness she had hoped for was nowhere to be found. Amelia kept her head down, kept to herself, and spent most lunches sketching in her notebook or eating alone beneath the big oak tree near the gym. But solitude wasn't enough to escape notice. Among the loudest voices in school were 3 girls, Brielle, Kayla, and Maddie. Known for their flawless social media personas and designer bags, they ruled the school hallways like it was their personal runway. To them, Amelia was an easy target, quiet, different, and clearly new. They saw her thrifted clothes and quiet demeanor not as something to be respected, but something to be ridiculed. At first, the bullying was subtle. Snide remarks about her hair, whispers as she walked past, and the occasional accidental bump in the hallway. Amelia tried to ignore it. Her parents had always taught her to be patient, to rise above, to not let anger guide her actions. But inside, something was brewing, something she'd kept hidden since the age of 10. You see, Amelia wasn't helpless. She had spent 8 years training in Krav Maga and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with her older brother back in her hometown. Her father, a retired Marine, had insisted both his kids learn self-defense, not to fight, but to be prepared. Amelia had competed in regional tournaments, even taking home medals, but she had never used her skills outside the mat. Not until now. It was a Wednesday afternoon when everything exploded. Amelia had just stepped out of the girls' locker room after gym class. Her clothes were neatly folded in her backpack, and she wore her favorite pleated skirt, one of the few items she had from her grandmother. As she walked past the lockers, she heard giggles behind her. Then, in a flash, she felt the tug, hard and sudden. The fabric tore, echoing like a gunshot in the tiled corridor. She gasped, spinning around to see Brielle holding a piece of the skirt, laughing like she'd just pulled off the best prank of the year. Students nearby laughed too. Phones came out. Cameras clicked. It was humiliation in slow motion. Amelia's face burned red, not just from shame, but from the fire rising in her chest. She stepped back, took a deep breath, and something changed. Her eyes narrowed, her posture straightened, and the years of training her father had drilled into her kicked in. Brielle took a step forward, her grin mocking. "What are you gonna do, cry?" She didn't see it coming. In less than a second, Amelia sidestepped Brielle's reach and twisted her wrist into a controlled lock, bringing her down to her knees with a swift move that left the crowd gasping. Kayla lunged at her from the side, but Amelia ducked, spun, and swept her leg out from under her. Kayla landed with a thud, wind knocked out of her. Maddie tried to run, but Amelia caught her by the arm and immobilized her with a simple joint lock she had practiced hundreds of times. None of the moves were flashy, just efficient, fast, and decisive. Exactly what they were meant to be. The bullies weren't laughing anymore. They were on the ground, groaning in pain, begging her to stop. Phones that once recorded to mock were now filming in awe. Whispers filled the hallway. Admiration, respect, and shock. A teacher finally arrived, confused by the scene. Students rushed to explain. They tore her skirt. She was just defending herself. She didn't even hurt them badly, just stopped them. Amelia stood tall, fixing her clothes as best she could. Her voice, calm and steady, addressed the teacher. "I didn't start this. But I ended it." The principal called her to the office later that day. She feared the worst, suspension, maybe even expulsion. But what she found instead was unexpected. The security footage had captured the entire incident. Parents of the bullies were already on the line, and complaints had been filed, not against Amelia, but in her defense. The next day, things were different. Students who had once ignored her now nodded respectfully. a group invited her to sit with them at lunch. Even